Welcome to the Fighting Cast. This is Shin, Takuma Inoue versus Tenshin Nasukawa. Well, it had been rumored and now it's been decided, or rather announced.
Wow, that's amazing. Really amazing.
Right? It's a big match. Isn't it exciting?
Yeah, that's right.
This is the match I wanted to see the most. Honestly, I think this one is better than Takeru versus Tenshin.
Well, you know, the idea that Taken only sets up matches they can win has already been shattered. It's now at a point where Tenshin Nasukawa is truly in danger.
No, but that's exactly why it's interesting. The idea that Tenshin might actually lose, that's what matchmaking is all about. So the reason I thought this fight versus Takuma would be more interesting than versus Takeru is because I already think he'll beat Takeru. I'm pretty confident about that. Yeah. But with Takuma, I'm really wondering how it's going to turn out, how it's going to go. Because there's that kind of mystery and drama, I think this one is more interesting. Well, for people who are looking for a knockout, it might not be what they want. But even in a fierce clash, the exchange of techniques is definitely interesting. And it's really the kind of match where you have no idea what's going to happen. Today, I'd like to talk about this match.
Thank you for having me.
The press conference just ended, and I'm about to interview the players again, so I can't really talk about those points too much. I haven't been able to see it yet, so I apologize if I miss anything like that. The press conference was interesting in many ways. First of all, there was the part where they called on a former boxer and asked him questions. There was also Mr. Furuhashi Gakuya, well known among Inoue critics.
You know how people often tease him as someone who was abandoned by boxing, but since he's on Amazon Prime?
Not at all.
Not at all. It's as if he was never abandoned.
Because he's fighting Takuma Inoue. Also, he's working hard on social media now, so maybe that's part of it too. And there was also Takaharu Tanaka. So being able to ask questions from a boxer's perspective, that's a different approach from reporters, right? I think that's great, and I really hope he keeps it up. Also, I think Tenshin Nasukawa is interesting. I want to show you a ghost. A ghost? What do you mean? A ghost is just a ghost.
I wonder what I was thinking, really. Well, it's like I can't be touched, like I'm a ghost. That's how it feels.
Well, yeah, that's right. You can't help but picture it. Someone outboxing, landing hits without being touched. That's what you think of. But in the end, only Tenshin really knows what it truly means. For a moment there, I kind of slipped into a spiritual, poetic mode. Yeah, that's right.
Just like Nasukawa Tenshin would.
And then, as for this Nasukawa Tenshin, well, once again, it was the same with my debut match. I also find it pretty interesting that it's starting to feel like Tenshin versus boxing. The points to watch out for with Inoue Takuma are, when I'm asked, I always say, I'm going to take down that boxing. It's interesting. Even in my debut match, I still felt like an outsider. Right? Tenshin Nasukawa. As he gained more boxing experience and fought the strong Yoneha, all the boxers supported Yoneha. Of course, I don't think that's bad at all. But so this time, isn't everyone probably supporting Takuma? People in the boxing world, especially former world champions and such.
That's right, yeah.
I think that's how it should be.
I think that's how it should be.
I think it's just about supporting people from your own country, so that's how it should be.
But Tenshin Nasukawa is a boxer now, right? He's somewhat of an outsider. I get the hype about his debut match. But yeah, he's already been training at Tekken for a long time. He's already become a complete boxer. And he's the kind of boxer who can headline a boxing card on his own. So calling him an outsider at this point just doesn't feel right.
But if you think about it more deeply, he really is an outsider, no matter how you look at it. Takuma Inoue began boxing as a child and later became the Japanese champion. He kept building up his achievements, spent his whole life boxing, and in a way he led the boxing world to where it is now. He may not be as well known as his older brother, but he still brought excitement. Tenshin, however, he just came into the scene a little bit, Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So in that sense, it's not that I dislike Tenshin or anything. I know there aren't many boxers. But if you ask who I want to win, it's the one who's worked hard as a boxer. I'd support former world champion Takuma Inoue, as a fellow boxer.
That's interesting.
Is it interesting?
For example, if Tenshin Nasukawa wasn't a kickboxer but had superhuman physical abilities, like with monstrous talent, and he suddenly enters boxing, and by his 8th match, people are saying, this is boxing's new star. Then they'd say, let's have Dr. Takuma pass the torch to him. I think the boxing world would naturally support Tenshin.
There's a possibility. However,
since he came from kickboxing, it's like...
That's what I mean.
Don't you think that's the case?
That might be true. He's also famous in kickboxing, and he came into boxing, but he didn't make his name in boxing.
That's how it feels, right?
So I think that's completely natural. And after all, I'm friends with Takuma Inoue, and we've sparred together, and I've faced a lot of the same fighters, right? Rakuya Furuhashi is the same way, so of course I'll support them. I'll definitely support Tenshin Nasukawa. I followed him for a long time. Honestly, I began covering martial arts mainly due to Tenshin's influence. It's interesting. I followed his journey all along. It's like, is he really going to lose here? But there's always a chance, right? If you think about it, those who followed Tenshin's kickboxing career will understand. Until now, he hasn't really had a fight where he could actually lose. At least that's how I feel. Think about it. Can you imagine it? That's why everyone thinks Rodtang was his toughest fight. But Rodtang...
People thought I would win easily.
Yeah, that's why the match was set up. That's what I mean. RISE, a kickboxing organization where Tenshin developed as a fighter, is known for matching its stars against mysteriously super strong foreigners, often resulting in their own stars being defeated. That's the way they do things. So as an organization, I wonder if that's really the right approach. And as for K1, they bring in foreigners their fighters can likely beat, then have Takeru fight the supposed strongest ones. That's how it feels, yeah? Tenshin is undefeated in kickboxing, right? So he always faces mysterious strong foreigners and wins every time? That's right. He's not being promoted well, and neither is Rotan. Plus, there aren't any matches where people think Tenshin could actually lose, right?
Yeah, that's true. Well, if you put it that way...
Takeru, right? But once Takeru was chosen, I knew Tenshin would win. But... yeah, from an ordinary person's perspective, that's true. That's true. It might be like that, but not as much as Takuma, right? At least for me, I think this is the first time I feel like Tenshin might lose a match after all.
I'm excited, but it's also a bit scary, especially for those of us supporting him.
In a weird way, we didn't really know about Mayweather either. I didn't know anything about boxing at all. That was me. I thought, well, Tenshin's really skilled, so he should be able to last about 3 rounds. But in the end, that wasn't an official match. So when you think about it that way, Mayweather's, I now understand the depth of his words when he said this isn't an official match, so it doesn't matter. Do you get what I mean?
I got a knockout, but this one doesn't really count.
So I'm still undefeated.
Well,
I can use that brand. So once again, I realized just how amazing Mayweather is.
Mayweather is incredible in many ways.
Yeah, but, well, to get back to the topic, this might be the fight where Tenshin could actually lose. So even if you think about it deeply, yeah, that's right. Takeru had that too, and so did Sugakin.
The first time...
The second time...
maybe I'll lose.
That's what I think. If I had to choose, I'm more on that side. But since I won, well, I don't really know. I really thought maybe I'll lose to Takuma here. But, well...
For example, with Tenshin and Takeru, even among the general public, there were people who were certain that Takeru would win. It wasn't exactly 50-50, but many people were curious about the outcome. But in the end, Tenshin was overwhelming. He even scored a knockdown.
That's what happens, right?
Tenshin, this is how it turns out, right? That's my final impression. But do you think that's possible in this fight for Tenshin?
Tenshin?
Overwhelming. People thinking, well, that's how it's going to be.
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely, I will...
Absolutely not.
That's how much I...
Well, as of now, it's 50-50. Maybe, just maybe, Takuma, Inoue has a slight advantage. That's what I think. After watching Takei versus Medina, yes, he's been boxing since childhood and is truly a skilled boxer. A fighter raised that way knows more tricks. Yeah? You know, it's just this, right? Yeah. So how do you land this? You need hundreds of different patterns for that. In kickboxing, so if this doesn't land, then you go for a kick, right? Then aim for the knee, then clinch, take them down here, and throw in a knee there. There are many options. You can quickly move to the next one. Yeah, if it's just this, then you need a lot of different techniques. Yeah, I think that's even harder, right? So even if you call it martial arts, I'm not sure if boxing can really be called a martial art, but, well, this kind of, in sports where you trade punches, boxing is the most technical, I think it's the hardest. And then, as more and more options get added, it's not exactly easier, but yeah, well, it's a bit different, So if I say this, mixed martial arts fans may get upset, but mixed martial arts is honestly the easiest to become a champion. At least that's what I think. Yeah, of course I'm talking about the Ultimate Fighting Championship. There are a lot of really strong fighters, but still, when kickboxers like Adesanya or Alex Pereira come in, everyone, they become champions in no time. That doesn't really happen in boxing, It's tough. So that's why these are the words of Demetrius Johnson, who's called the greatest mixed martial arts fighter of all time. Some people say the mixed martial arts is the lowest level and that boxing is way above it, and things like that just aren't possible. There are exceptions. In the heavyweight division, higher weight classes mean a greater chance to finish someone with one shot. Back when it was Johnson, it was guys like Deontay Wilder. He was about 20. After turning 20, he won an Olympic bronze medal and then trained for 2 years. He won Olympic bronze and became heavyweight world champion, so you could call him unskilled. But he can do it because he's an exception with incredible physical ability and talent. Probably not in the lighter weight classes. I just can't imagine it there. So what I want to say is boxing really is difficult. Yeah, honestly, I'll say it again, but that's really all there is, right? Yeah? It's just about how to land this and how many times. I always use a lot of different patterns. If you only have a few patterns, from the middle of the match, your opponent will read all your moves and you'll end up losing. Yeah, that's why. But what's amazing about Tenshin is that he tries something different in every match. Yeah, he tries all kinds of things. Yeah, Takei used his own strengths with that kind of style, but then he hit a bit of a wall here. What about Tenshin Nasukawa? He hasn't had many matches, but he experiments in every fight. So I think his growth is definitely faster than Taki's. Yeah, in terms of the number of rounds fought, maybe Tenshin has actually surpassed him. That's true. I agree. In terms of the number of rounds, going to a decision every time, well, that was just a joke. But I get what you're saying. Tenshin is growing faster. So by the time of this Takuma fight, it's totally possible that we'll see a different Tenshin again. However, it's certain that he won't catch up to Takuma's technique. So the question is how he'll surpass that technique. Tenshin's youth and physical ability, especially his speed, stand out. Takuma Inoue is also fast. Making use of it, but he's fast, right? Yeah. Takuma Inoue is usually faster than his opponents, but this time it's different. And that's what's interesting. This time his opponent is faster than him. Their heights are similar, but Tenshin's reach is about 10 centimeters longer. He has that, and he's a southpaw, I think that's going to be a problem in those areas, especially with this kind of outfighting and touch game. It's about hitting without being hit. As an outboxer, I think Tenshin will have the advantage there, at least at first. But it's not just about speed. If you don't have enough tricks up your sleeve, Takuma will read all of that and start taking over from the middle rounds. It's all about experience. Because of how many tricks he has, that's why I can imagine it, So I'm also wondering, how's it going to turn out? I think it's a really fascinating match. Also, Takuma is really good at infighting. Yeah, he's great at infighting, especially Tenshin. He's not that good at it, but he's really good at stopping his opponent, right? So I'm curious about how that exchange will go, how they'll clash, and which one will come out on top. Tenshin uses a slightly different method from regular boxing, like framing and stopping his opponent or turning them. He probably wants to avoid getting into that kind of exchange.
Yeah, they probably won't trade punches on the inside.
From there, his body shots and uppercuts are really good. I think Rakuya Furuhashi knows that better than anyone. Yeah. I took a lot of uppercuts and just waited. That part?
I got knocked out. Was it anchors?
Anka's right. I got knocked out by a southpaw's body shot. But after seeing that, people started saying the Takuma isn't bad against southpaws. But I'm not so sure about that. To begin with, Ankas didn't really fight like a typical southpaw at all. Yeah. So if you look at Takuma's losses, Ubali is a southpaw, right? Yes. And you could say Seiya Tsutsumi is also a southpaw. Yes. It's actually quite possible that he's still not good against southpaws. I've heard those rumors too. Yes. Tenshin seems to have this southpaw-style outboxing approach. Yes, if he continues that. I wonder how he'll overcome that. You want to get inside, right?
Well, Tenshin Nasukawa with guys like Maloney. When you watch his fights, he sometimes deliberately exchanges on the inside and shows a bit of an opening there, you know? But really,
It's just...
if I just stick to moving back in the outbox, dodging, touching, and popping shots, I feel like I could actually do it pretty easily.
Takuma Inoue. I keep thinking
that dodging ability is unusually good.
First of all, this is a 12-round match. Okay? 12 rounds is a long time. You've never done 12 rounds before, have you, Tenshin?
10?
Rounds.
That's right.
So, well, I fought 10 rounds with Moron. Moron was the toughest, and his last fight was against Rotary Jesu, right? Yes. You could say those two were the strongest opponents, but neither of them could put any pressure on me from the start. Yeah. Actually, Tenshin was able to do whatever he wanted the whole time, surprisingly. If you look at the entire duration of the match, that's not the case when it's against Takuma. It gets exhausting. It may sound harsh, but if your opponent is easy, you could keep going indefinitely. You don't get tired, right? But I don't think that's true this time. In the second half, around the middle of the match, my speed will probably drop a bit.
Takuma Inoue doesn't seem like a player who applies much pressure.
But his sense of distance is really good. He always keeps the right distance where he can step in and land a shot. He's really skilled at that, and when he wants to get in and land his own punches, he closes the distance himself. So I think his sense of distance is really excellent.
He's a counterfighter, right?
Honestly, I think he can do anything. He can't just move forward on his own, so I think he has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. Definitely more than Tenshin. So what Tenshin has shown so far, I don't think it's possible for Tenshin to just control the fight one-sidedly by circling around as an outboxer.
One-sided?
If he makes it one-sided, that would be amazing.
So that means Tenshin has to go on the offensive against Takuma Inoue. Not exactly as a challenge, but he has to attack. Otherwise, he won't be able to score any points.
He must attack and score. For instance, if he wins 7 rounds, loses 6, and is knocked down, if he doesn't get knocked down, he can still win by decision. But I don't think it'll be a one-sided victory. Even at the press conference, Takuma seemed really motivated. Neither can afford to lose this fight, but for Takuma, it's an even bigger must-win. That's what I think. If he loses, people will wonder, what will he do next? He won't have another chance at the world title anytime soon. He might have to go for the Japanese champion belt again, or another Japanese title. It's a long road ahead for me.
For me, on the other hand, what I found interesting when I heard Mr. Furuhashi's question was, are you thinking about your boxing career after this match? That's my view. Tenshin Nasukawa said, if I can, I want to collect all the belts. Although timing and other factors matter, I felt he still wants to do great things in boxing. On the other hand, what about Takuma? It seems he's just focused on Tenshin right now, so more like... I thought Tenshin was the one looking ahead. So I actually felt that the one who's really motivated is Tenshin.
Oh, really? I'm the opposite. Even if Tenshin loses, he still has time to rise up again. And he's young. For Takuma, it's really all about this match. When it comes to motivation, or rather, for both of them regarding this match, huh? It's more like their determination, or the meaning of this match is different for each of them. For me, it's like, I have to win this match. It's the same for Tenshin, but I feel it's even more so for Takuma. For now, that's what I think. When it comes to this match, it's actually said that in martial arts, it's not really good for fighters to look too far ahead.
Well, looking ahead, yeah, that's right. How should I put it? You can easily imagine someone tripping up because they're not paying attention to the fighters who come in between those big high profile matches. For example, choosing this big match, but then there's a little warm up match here, and if you don't really focus there, you end up losing. That pattern happens a lot, doesn't it? It really does.
It wasn't really like that, you know. Takuma didn't seem unmotivated at all.
I wouldn't say he was unmotivated though. I think Tenshin Nasukawa, on the other hand, actually feels a lot more pressure, like I have to win even more.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting way to look at it. Well,
He's undefeated, and there's also the possibility of his first loss. For Takuma, another loss.
Takuma truly carries the boxing world on his shoulders.
Think about it.
This match is for the boxing world and also for his brother, Naoya Inoue's name.
Yes. Oh, well, I do think I'm carrying the Inoue family's name on my back. But Tenshin Nasukawa, he's not with the biggest boxing promotion, but it's still huge, right? Amazon Prime Boxing. Tenshin Nasukawa is constantly taking the main event spots.
Right, that's true.
Meanwhile, they're using Tenshin Nasukawa to help promote fighters like Junto Nakatani. That's how it was at first, right? So the one who's really carrying the boxing world is actually Tenshin Nasukawa. That's what I think, in that sense. Yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe saying the boxing world isn't quite right. Boxer, boxing. I believe Takuma is the one carrying the boxing world's expectations.
Well, among the people involved.
Absolutely, I definitely, without a doubt, think so. Behind the scenes, well, they might not say it officially, but behind the scenes, everyone is probably thinking, Takuma, do your best. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, that's right. Well, yeah, that's true. And
right? Yeah. So I wonder, both of them are carrying a lot of pressure. Even though it's different kinds of pressure, I think they're both under a lot of it. And they're both highly motivated. So I don't think either one has an advantage there. It's a different situation for each. But one thing I can say is if Takuma loses here, it's going to be really tough for him. Yes, I think his next career step will be tough. Yeah, I really think he feels that way. That's right. Yeah. After all, people who have nothing left to lose tend to work harder. Well, there are exceptions, but they really put in more effort. That's one way to put it.
Those are the people who are still looking back, the ones who still have something left. Because after this, they want to do something similar.
If you have that, no, but if you don't win this, there's nothing after. That's right. Really.
That's true.
That's why I can't even think about what comes after.
Well, yeah.
Right? So whether that's good or bad, everyone motivates themselves in their own way. Yeah. It seems like both of you always show up with really high motivation and in the best condition. Don't you think? Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah. I didn't really feel anything special about that. Both of you are amazing. You're here to win. That's what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Right, but how should I say it? Right, well,
No, Naoto is just a fan of Tenshin, that's all.
No, that's not it. For example, in the Tsutsumi fight with Takuma Inoue. No, not until I get revenge. I can't quit until then. If I say I'm definitely going to win here, then okay, I think maybe there's some kind of motivation to win.
Yeah, I see, right.
Yeah. Now when I look at what's next, I think there's something after this, so but for now it's all about this moment. It's about what happens here and just thank you for this opportunity. So if I lose, it's like, oh well, that's how it is, but if I win, it's like, all right, maybe I'll think about what's next. So it's not that I'm hesitating, but for now I just want to focus on this. But Tenshin is more like, no, I'll do this, then that. I'm going to win here and go even further in boxing. He wants to get belts from other organizations, or rather from multiple organizations. It's like he's aiming for something even bigger. I feel like he has a really strong desire for that.
Yeah. I just think that's the difference between the younger guys and the veterans.
Yeah.
Because Takuma also won the belt. And probably, if Tenshin were already in Tenshin's position, right? Back then, he likely would have won a belt and kept collecting more. That's probably what he would have done. But I think it's just the difference in timing, like where they are in their careers. Yeah, that's right. As years pass, that's just how it is. You become more realistic and start thinking about what's right in front of you. When I was younger, I had big dreams. A little. I don't really know how big the age gap actually is, but there's a big difference in our careers as boxers. Takuma is a two-time world champion, while this is Tenshin's first world title match. I think that difference in mindset might also play a role, but I use that as motivation. It's kind of interesting to think that there's a difference there.
Yeah, like you get right into it. Yeah, like eating meat and then moving around, definitely.
I'd probably end up with a stomachache after all. It's like that energy, yeah. Like, it helps keep your metabolism up, you know? Yeah? Like, you don't get that feeling of crashing or I'm tired anymore.
Please, thank you.
So, well, I think it's 50-50, yeah. But Naoto is thinking that Tenshin will win overwhelmingly.
Even if he wins overwhelmingly and it turns out just like that, I wouldn't be surprised. That's what I think. I've thought this for a while, but if this match actually happens, it means that Tenshin can win.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So, Tenshin, but you think so too, right? Everyone has this strong impression that Tenshin chooses his opponents, but if you actually listen to Tenshin at press conferences, if you listen to his words, he's actually someone with a real challenger spirit. Yeah. I met him once before at Teppen Gym. He said he wanted to fight Takuma about half a year ago. Even then, he mentioned wanting to fight Takuma. I thought, that's interesting, but I figured it probably wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
He's always been the kind of person who wants to take on challenges like this. Even in matches where he thinks he might lose, he still wants to do it. His love for martial arts is incredible. He's a real fighter, but just because Tenshin chose this doesn't mean he'll win. Yeah, someday he'll pick the wrong one, you know?
Ah, I see, yeah.
So the manager or the president will properly stop him from doing that.
That's what I mean. Well, yeah, that's how it is. That's what it is.
But sometimes they mess that up too.
Arrangement.
There are definitely times when you mess up. So Take messed up too, right? In this match? Well, yeah, that's right. It's totally possible. So this is a match where they're taking risks. If Takuma wins for the belt, his reputation will skyrocket, right? Yeah, but they're taking risks. I really think so. And Takuma is also taking quite a risk.
But Take
is
the designated challenger, right?
So I can choose, well, for some good reason I was able to fight someone else. I'm not sure, but I can do something, right? Maybe later? Yeah, I can do it. Naoya Inoue also had to wait about a year as Akhmadaliyev's mandatory challenger.
Naoya Inoue can do it.
I think so. Takei can do it too, definitely. Ohashi Gym is strong, and they're training in Japan.
For example, with Naoya Inoue holding multiple belts, people ask, aren't there mandatory challengers? I think he can choose one from among them. Goodman.
Or someone similar. I don't know the details, but you have to do it yearly, right? Yeah. So he didn't need to fight Medina.
Well, yeah.
That's right. So he made a mistake because he thought he could win. Yeah? Well, Tenshin also thinks he can win. That's why the match is happening. It's definitely a challenge, but the match is on because he believes he can win. Isn't that right? But it's the same for Takuma's side, isn't it? Yeah. I really don't think it's as simple as Tenshin chose him so he can win. Mistakes like that can happen. But it's not like Tenshin's side thinks it'll be an easy win either. Yeah, I don't think they believe it's going to be an easy fight.
No, well, it's definitely not going to be an easy fight.
They must definitely think there's a risk. Yeah. I also feel like this fight is dangerous. Yeah, that's how I feel. I want to land something effective somewhere. Tenshin. Yeah, without it, I think it would get tough.
Yeah, that's true.
No, then it seems pretty difficult.
Yes.
So Tenshin wins by outboxing for 12 rounds and maintaining it throughout.
Right?
Yeah, that's right. So, what do you think? Can he do that?
I wonder. The point is...
Yeah, damage. If he doesn't land a hit somewhere, if he doesn't chip away, it's going to get a bit tough.
But that's why I think so. Reach, well, Tenshin has the advantage. Speed, at least in the early rounds. Tenshin has the advantage. Youth, Tenshin has the advantage. Reach. Oh, did I mention reach? Yeah. So, since he's a southpaw and has that reach, Takuma has to make it count or he can't win. At least that's what I think.
I guess. So.
But if you keep that up, Tenshin will likely score points.
That's what I mean. Well, but eventually it'll turn out like this, or... Yeah, you can't keep dodging forever, right?
Yeah, Tenshin has to. Yeah, that's right. Tenshin has to, so Takuma has to go after him.
Yes, but as the fight enters the middle rounds, the distance will close. He can't circle and score from the outside forever. Right? At that point, who has the advantage? Yeah, at that point, I think it wouldn't be strange at all if I landed a body shot on Tenshin, who would be a bit tired by then.
Yes, Tenshin might use a Devin Haney style strategy and just go for holding instead of engaging.
Or something like that. It'd be better if he did, right? But it won't be easy. I still think Takuma has the advantage. He's got that kind of experience, right? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. In situations like this, I've had experience doing things like this. But for Tenshin, this will be his first time. It's his first in many ways. It's his first time facing such a skilled opponent and someone with such strong defense.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, that's right. I think it's pretty tough. Was it Ashiro? His reactions were quick, and Tenshin couldn't quite land a clean hit. That's Takuma's outfighting style. At that level, what do you think? What happens? Takuma is better, right? Ashiro, exactly. It's possible.
I think he can win, but Tenshin dominated Ashiro.
Yeah.
Round points.
Well,
Well, overall, when I look at everything, I think it was probably close. But I feel like if Tenshin manages to just barely win each round, he can do it. For me, if Takuma doesn't make a strong impression and take rounds from Tenshin, I think there's a high chance it will go in Tenshin's favor. That round,
yeah.
he leaves a good impression, especially with how Tenshin fights. If Takuma doesn't go on the offensive, the points will go to Tenshin. But then again, Takuma doesn't really fight that way, I think.
I'm rooting for Tenshin, but people are really underestimating Takuma.
But if Takuma were to fight that way...
Because even though he lost to Tsutsumi, he always makes guys like Tsutsumi miss.
Tsutsumi comes forward.
So there were plenty of moments where he pushed Tsutsumi back. Yes, so I don't think Takuma is a weak player when it comes to pressing.
Yes, I think Takuma has actually fought someone like Tenshin before.
Has he? Well, no, he hasn't. Poi?
After that...
Southpaw. Tenshin is? That's pretty rare, right? Yes, but it could go the other way too, you know? But if you ask which one has the advantage, I think I can only say Takuma.
Yeah, if you look at their achievements, records, and experience, yeah, even if you look at everything, I think Nasukawa Tenshin has the edge in fighting style.
Yeah, I see.
Speaking of fight types, people who come at you aggressively, Tenshin handles them without any problem. It's a different level, but are you ready for it?
But I think Takuma can do everything. Yeah, and as for Tenshin, I still don't really know what he's going to do. On the contrary, so the one who will push the pace and move things forward will be Takuma, not Tenshin. He must become like himself, a ghost. Meanwhile, Takuma, where or when it's done, inside, outside, or here, I think Takuma controls that.
Yes.
Yes, not the other way around. Yes. So I think this side has the advantage. The reach and, well, it's longer. And being a southpaw. There are those tools, but it's about where, when, and how you fight. I believe Takuma decides that. I see. Do you understand the meaning?
There is, I don't think it has any meaning. Because Tenshin, you just have to do this. You just have to win outside.
That way is easier to prepare for, right?
Yeah. And then the other side has to prepare for that. They have to use all their tricks and everything. But maybe if it's a fighting style you're not good at.
So, then if Takuma gains the advantage with this outfighting style, what will Tenshin do?
What then? Does that mean Tenshin can't do anything?
Right? That's a totally possible scenario. Yes, it's definitely possible.
That's out.
That's out. It's totally possible. Takuma himself could just zoom right in. Yeah, I totally think it's possible. Huh, I wouldn't be surprised. Honestly, you never know until the bell rings. I see. It's totally possible. I think there's a chance. You know, Takuma, you're really good, seriously. Yeah. One more time, Takuma's, it's probably been a while. You haven't seen it. I don't think you've seen it, so take a look. Takuma's, one more time, huh? But I did see it. It's super, super interesting. He's really good. Yeah. Once again, after hearing that it's been decided, I watched it again and I thought, yeah, he's really good. Yeah, really.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a really tough battle.
I think so, but Naoto disagrees. That's interesting. I'd like to hear everyone's thoughts, so please comment. Also, I'm curious about the undercard matches too. Seriously, what kind of matches will be set up? Another title belt has become vacant too, so I'm also wondering who will go for that, you know?
Which title belt do you mean?
2 bantamweight titles are vacant, the World Boxing Council, and another. I'm curious who will pursue the other. Oh, Riku Masuda.
That's the one that Junto Nakatani vacated, right?
Right? Yeah.
One is Tenshin versus Takuma.
Yeah, did you just realize that now?
That's why there are 2 vacant belts.
Ah, there's another vacant belt. I see.
Yeah, I wonder who will take it.
No, the real question is who gets the chance. It's about who will be given the opportunity, right? Yes, Riku Masuda or Tsuboi. They said Tsuboi might avoid it, but I don't know. I think both of them are interesting.
Yeah, I really like Riku Masuda.
I think, he's interesting, right? Yeah, I really like his style. Yeah.
That kind of power, especially from a southpaw, he highlights. I kind of have this image that southpaws fight a bit sneaky, but I really like those powerful southpaws.
I really love Take.
Yeah, Take is one of them, and so is Junito Nakatani and Maslik too.
Yeah, well, but, Junito is a bit of an exception. Well, anyway.
Well, that's true, but the image is that of a power type southpaw.
Yeah, I like that style too. Maybe Takei is actually a better boxer. Yeah, he might be better, but I think I like Masuda Riku more. Yeah? So, that's kind of how I feel. I hope Masuda Riku gets a title match. That's right, yeah. That Filipino guy, the one who beat Kuriara. Ah, Kenneth Rabara. Last time was disappointing since he couldn't perform well, but there's still something special about him.
For the first 4 rounds, he was the strongest in the world.
Yeah, ha ha ha. Right, that was interesting too. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to be arranged. But was it November 24th? Yes, they're doing it before October. That's amazing.
Right? I think a knockout is possible.
Really? I doubt it. Betting on that seems safest. Decision win? If I had to choose, I'd go with Takuma by decision. If it's Tenshin, there won't be any sparks flying or an intense slugfest, but there's a sense of mystery, the mystery of what might happen. That's why it's interesting for boxing fans. In a match like that, Tenshin's big name will probably make it interesting. For people who don't really watch boxing, being Naoya Inoue's younger brother is also a big deal.
So in a way,
Naoya has many fans, making promotion easy.
that's what I think. That's right. Yeah, in boxing and combat sports, people often say that knockouts are really important, right? This fight is interesting in that sense. For me, because everyone knows this won't end in a knockout. Well, if it sells really well, though this might sound a bit harsh, if this sells really well then. So, a knockout, people will start saying, doesn't that not really matter? So...
Yeah. Well, it's not everything. But for an unknown fighter to make a name for himself, a knockout is really important.
That's right. Tenshin was also getting knockouts, wasn't he, at first?
At the beginning, in kickboxing, yeah. That's why knockouts are important. In the end, knockouts matter. Well, Takuma is, after all, he became a boxing world champion and is Naoya Inoue's younger brother with a big reputation.
But he's the younger brother of a knockout artist.
That's what I mean. Well, but they're connected, right? In a way, with Naoya Inoue. So in that sense, I don't mean to say he was just lucky, but he was a bit fortunate. But hypothetically, let's say if Takuma, if he were a knockout monster like his brother, the excitement would be completely different.
No, if that were the case,
it would be crazy. That's why KOs are pretty important.
I see. Well, that's true.
In the end, KOs are definitely exciting, no doubt about that. But they're not everything. After all, for an unknown fighter to make a name for himself, he needs something special. If he doesn't do things like breaking down or become a TikToker or YouTuber on social media, then he has to stand out with his performance in the matches, right? With KOs and flashy knockout. You keep stacking up impressive matches and knockout S. That draws attention, and you can ride that wave. Once you become famous, you don't need knockout S anymore. They just become a bonus. That's how it is. I think so. Naoya Inoue wasn't famous from the start either, That's not true. He kept getting KOs, so everyone thought, this guy is amazing. So that's the difficult part. For fighters, just winning is already tough. But if you become a world champion, you can get by with just that. Takuma and everyone else too. If you have exciting fights, you'll become popular. But superstars are the ones who get KOs.
I see.
It's the same with Crawford, and it was with Canelo. Now, Canelo also wins by decision. Yeah, what about it? The matches are close, but when he was on the rise, the fights were really exciting and he was getting KOs. That's why he became famous, and now it's like that. He no longer needs to fight recklessly, yet he lost to Crawford.
He had to keep getting KOs until he became famous.
No, you either make a name for yourself through your performance in matches, or you do it in a different way, like becoming an influencer somewhere else. Right now, those two patterns are pretty popular. That's true. Mariah Sakura also became popular at first by getting KOs. He became known as a YouTuber, but now his matches are boring. But it's okay. But that's really true, but it's okay now. He doesn't have to do it anymore. This is going to get clipped. He really doesn't have to do it anymore. That's a compliment. It's like Mayweather. He started with KOs, then played it safe and focused on trash talk. He was like, it's okay if the matches are boring. And then his name got out there. He became famous. Some, like Pacquiao, keep going from start to finish. Still, fighters like that eventually lose. You can't keep it up forever. The damage adds up too, so honestly, I don't know which way is better. But when it comes to knockouts, being aggressive is important. Otherwise, you can't get a knockout. If you keep attacking aggressively all the time, like Naoya Inoue does, you end up taking more damage yourself. Because accidents can happen, you really have to switch things up at some point. It's all about timing. Some people say it was boring because Main Wu was always the main event from the start, but that's not true at all, right? Yeah? It was like the boring era from the very beginning. There are times when nobody even looks back. So that's just how it is. X Nights. Aibo's 17 punch bender combo, etc. I can't really describe it, but it leaves an impression, But somehow, it's amazing. I wonder how the athletes feel, but I think you really have to get the form right.
Especially when there's such a big difference in skill level.
My impression is that they give out a lot of those awards, right? Especially in the beginning to popular or star athletes. That's just because in the beginning the difference in skill level between opponents was too big.
Yeah, that's how it was. There are exceptions though, like Taki, right? But anyway, that's where I started. Yeah, you make a name for yourself. Yeah, you build it up since you're an athlete and all. That's part of it too. I see. But just continuing to do that, even if you knock out a really strong guy, it doesn't mean that's all you need to do. Well, that's true.
Yeah, that's when the bar suddenly rises all at once.
Right? But facing a strong guy from the start just won't work. Yeah?
I get it. It's like lifting them up.
Yeah, strong and weak. Well, I know it sounds bad to say it like that. If you can't knock out a player who's at a lower level than you, then how are you going to knock out someone who's stronger or at the same level as you? Well, that's true.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. There's a reason for doing it that way, for various reasons. Fans say this and that, but Bokusu has his own way of doing things, and there's a reason for it.